for your parties. Dropping the hit, got me Shararti. Coming to see like a tsunami.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the popular number one hit single Haraami United.
I was
Yeah, we're
wondering where
not
you were
quite
going.
there. We're not quite there yet, but you know what? I think again, thank you for everybody for all the love that you've sent us. And obviously, look, we've said it before the last episode. It's Geezer and Mike, Mr. Sharma have kind of, what should we say, written it up? Is that the best way to say it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, from what I heard in some tweets, it just sort of flowed into space. Improvised, written, whatever. But again, thank you to them boys.
Thank you for them boys. Like I said, it's always in their spaces. But like I said, no doubt, watch this space. You never know. The next Christmas number one hit. Not this year, but maybe next year, yeah. Boys, I need to start it off something smiling because if most of us, and I'm sure all of us, watched the game yesterday. Reactions. Did any of us expect anything different? I think from our last conversation, Aki, I think it was only Afsal who said we're going to win, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, I said we're going to lose.
Oh, did you? Was it the Liverpool game you're going to win?
You're going to win.
Yeah, we're going to win Liverpool. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Then.
We were supposed to lose 4-0 last night.
4-0, so it was only 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's a positive, man. But yeah, what was your take on it?
It was what I expected. I didn't expect any, let's be real, it's Bayern Munich. And when the teams came out, they put out a very strong side. Obviously, Harry Kane started. You had and they've got the likes of Coleman, Sane, Muller. They've got a stupid amount of talent in that side, right?
You know the one person I forgot who even played for them? Mane?
Go
on. Mane?
No, he's in Saudi.
Oh, sorry, yeah, there you go. That's why I forgot about him then.
Mane's at Al Nassr.
Mane, Sane, yeah, my bad. Yeah, he's gone, isn't he? Yeah, I'll take that back then.
Yeah.
See, that's my knowledge. That's my knowledge on football now after United. I just don't care no more. But go on, sorry.
But yeah, look, it went exactly how I thought it'd go. Bayern dominated, and that's it. What else is there to say? There was no real, we pushed, but that's it, man. It is what it is. We lost 1-0. Aki, what are you saying?
So 2 points from the game itself. They played too safe, and there was no risk at all from anyone. The thing is, we have got dangerous players who can do something different, but there was nothing there. There's no spark, nothing at all. I think the last 20 minutes of the game, I basically bored off. I was out watching the game mostly with the boys, but I got bored.
Having cake and custard, yeah?
Yeah. And even my mate looked at me, he sat opposite me, and he goes to me, "Yo, are you bored?" And he goes, I go, "Yeah, the last 20 minutes was boring." We ended up just watching the Real Madrid game because I was on the other TV, but obviously it was just a boring game overall.
I think it was boring because I think we all knew what was going to happen. None of us believed.
Yeah, I think what it is it's even with the Liverpool game, I don't expect anything more different. Because now we've got Maguire injured. Who else is it? Luke Shaw.
You know what, Maguire? Excuse me. When Maguire got injured, I don't know about you boys. I know I was gutted.
Yeah, because he's been playing good.
Yeah, he's playing
good.
The
first thing that went through my head was, oh shit, who's going to play on Sunday?
Yeah, exactly. And this is how bad it's gone, isn't it? That
at the same time with Harry Maguire.
Yeah, that's where we've come to.
Even at the same time with Harry Maguire as well. I think with Harry Maguire as well. I think it's because he stayed. So if you know, it's Varane on the left side of defense, Maguire still on the right, but he still had. Yeah. But when he went off, when Evans came on, he stayed on the right, and Varane stayed on the left. Now
I thought Varane looked good.
Yeah, but I think overall, I'm not too sure how we're gonna play out.
Yeah, like I said,
in
I think
Anfield.
with that goal, the pass to Coleman by Kane, the deft
Wow.
touch. Yeah, if you look at Rasmus Højlund when he was trying to hold the ball up yesterday, he was just non-existent. No, I'm not blaming him, like I says, because I don't think it's fair on him to come to do what he's been asked to do, especially with the likes of Marcia who was ill. Yeah. There's no support for him. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think this is why Harry Kane should have been here, man. Do you know what I mean? Holding that ball up, and you need individual players to play a system. And everybody keeps asking about Erik ten Hag and his style of play. He's not had any of his players to play that style.
The main player he wanted, he never got in
I,
Frankie de Jong.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's one player, but I mean, even going back from last season when we didn't have Frankie de Jong, he still brought in players that were playing a certain style that he wanted. Okay, yes, he had to adjust it. It's not fully what Ten Hag wants to play, but he still needs it. And then I also hear the likes of people saying, "Oh, Ange at Tottenham." But even if you look at the players that they've got, they already play it's that kind of a play. Like remember Song when he was playing under Pochettino, he was that way inclined. They brought in players that will play a certain system. They're not a counter-attacking team by all means. Shut up shop. They were just, and that's why I think what's his name lost it in the end. What's his name? The manager, Conte, because I don't think he was getting the
Oh.
players that he wanted. But what Tottenham were doing, they were buying players for a certain system, and they bought that director of football as well. And their certain system was what they are now playing under Ange. What was under Pochettino? Do you know what
Well,
I mean?
look at the players they've signed. They've got Mickey van der Ven, the centre back, who's been, you've got to say, excellent almost.
Yeah. I mean,
Apart from
again,
their recent run.
a Dutch player who plays the Dutch way.
You've got the goalkeeper. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. But wow, what a
Yeah.
goalkeeper, man!
You know what I
Obviously,
mean?
James Maddison doing bits,
Again, Madison under what's his name, Rogers, playing that certain style of
and
play, pressing and
that
all that.
fullback, Adoji or something.
Yeah. So you got the
recently
keeper
just-
Vicario. You got the keeper Vicario, is it?
Yeah,
And
something like
I
that.
think that's his
got-
name.
Yeah, the left back you got Udoji or something like that, which is
Udogie,
Yeah,
quite
he's
good.
just signed a new contract as well.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that there was certain style of players that are playing for him, who'd got there, and I mean that's what you do as a properly run club. You bring those players that you have as the vision above the manager, and then the manager, just like the players, are part of that puzzle that is meant to fit that system. But when you're doing, teams like Tottenham, and Villa, again, we mentioned Villa, I think, on the last podcast as well. When they're doing it from top down, which is the way you do it, we're doing it the other way around. We're trying to do it from bottom up.
All right, question.
Do you know what I mean?
Where did you guys what channels did you watch the game on?
TNT. Or do you mean yesterday's game, or do you mean generally?
As in Bayern, what was it on? Was it out somewhere?
TNT.
TNT.
All right, cool. Because
TNT,
I was out for the game. I don't know what I watched it on. And one of the commentators, when he talked about Kim Min-jae and Harry Kane, and he talked about how that was an excellent window and they brought in excellent players for Bayern Munich. And I just thought, yeah, that could have been us.
Two players that should have been playing for us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And they got Harry Kane for less than 100 million. Kim Min-jae was, 39 million, I think his release clause was?
Like I says, even again, Declan Rice, who's been playing great for Arsenal as well, he was linked to us as well. Was going to come with Mason Mount, two best friends. Do you know what I mean? Should have come up. Like I says, man, we forget the money spent. It's the players that we needed. Do you know what I mean? It's not the money, because that's up to the Glazers and things like that, and they have wasted it in the past. But you got to be buying players that are going to suit a certain system. But yeah, boys, I'm on, I don't know, man. Next, what's next? You know, I think fans keep calling for either the head of Erik ten Hag, they want players out. What do you think? What's next for this club?
New ownership.
New ownership.
It's got to be on it.
Where's Sir Jim Ratcliffe, man?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, good point. It's been what, 2 months almost? Have we hit
I
the
mean,
2 month mark since the?
Can I just flip it and just say where's Sheikh Jassim? Because everyone's mentioning.
Bro, we're gonna get
all
hammered if you
this.
say that.
No, actually, look. So
Go on,
yesterday,
run it.
everyone's asking me where's Sheikh Jassim because I've been obviously throwing things around regarding INEOS and not Sheikh Jassim, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And I want you to obviously mention. So yesterday you seen the photo that I posted onto the group. Of Sheikh Jassim. So he was in London. Now he's come back into Doha. So if people, I think some people do know about there was an Altani wedding, Altani family wedding. One of the cousins got married. I'm not too sure the details of that. But currently he's in Doha. Again, obviously, boys, like I said, you've seen the photos. But he is. I got information today that he's due to fly back into London on Friday, and hopefully we can get something down to new ownership. But 9-2 are currently still in London.
So
But
Jassim's having biryani, yeah?
yeah, biryani, roast, ghost, everything, bro, everything.
Living the life, eh?
I wonder who's picking up that bill.
Well,
no, it's
they're the
yeah.
state
It's
on this,
I
or
think yeah. I think at the moment we just need that drop, don't we? And the guy needs to come to London straight away. But I've been told
Oh.
today, Friday, he's back. So hopefully.
okay, cool. And Hobbs, you mentioned Jim Ratcliffe, yeah? And I
Where
said it's
is
been
he?
2 months.
Yeah.
Well, did anyone see what came out about INEOS? Well, not
Which one?
INEOS,
There's so many things coming out about INEOS recently.
this
I've lost
niece
track.
thing about Russian dealings.
Oh, is it the railway or something like that in Russia?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like
Hmm.
Now, obviously, I tweeted something that caused a bit of a stir, and I said, "Oh, look here, would this not have some sort of bearing on the owners and directors test, given that he's gone against international sanctions?" Harps, you corrected me. You said it was a British sanctions. People still kept coming for me.
Isn't that similar to Chelsea's though, isn't it?
Well, this is where I was sort of getting at. Like, Chelsea is a British asset, a British club. It's incorporated and headquartered in, London. And they were owned by a Russian individual who had allegedly, let's throw an allegedly out there. I don't want to get sued by Roman Abramovich, who allegedly had ties to Vladimir Putin's regime. And when the war in Ukraine started, he was sanctioned, his assets were seized, and obviously he was told to put Chelsea Football Club up for sale. Because obviously, one, the government got involved, and I assume the Premier League didn't take too kindly to that either, that this guy is essentially linked to somebody, allegedly, who's stepping on territories and crossing international boundaries and all this sort of stuff, right? So that was how I sort of thought about it in one aspect. And the other aspect was, yes, this thing is against Nice, okay? Nice is French, I get that. So many people tried to explain that like I'm stupid. I know where Nice is, I know what league they play in, right? But they're owned by INEOS, a British company headquartered in London, registered on Companies House, who's owned by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the richest man in Britain. So that's where I sort of connected the dots, and I was like, well, if he's investing for a 25% stake, is he not affected by, like, does this thing not have like a little asterisk next to his name when it comes to owners and directors tests. Do you know what I mean? And people are like going at me like, "Oh, you're desperate, you're clutching at straws, this, that, the other one." I mean, I wasn't saying that I was a lawyer and that I knew this thing inside and out. I was just, voicing my opinion on it. But then I got thinking a bit more, and I went into a rabbit hole basically. And I thought, you know what? We mentioned, or Riz mentioned, a graceful exit within the eyes of the media, right, for Jim Ratcliffe. And I thought, one, it's not really graceful anymore. It's become embarrassing. Hadville Monday, next week, Friday, Thursday. What's going on? Like, surely if you're a billionaire, you're not going to stand for this because, your reputation is taking a bit of a hit, I'm guessing, right? And I thought, what if he's never been in the picture? Because his bid was 69%, then it was 31%, then it was 25%, or whatever it is stands at now. But the 69% and the 31% had nothing to do with sporting control. So then he went for a lesser stake with a bigger share of the control, which I don't understand. Don't know how that works. Again, I'm no lawyer. But it didn't make sense in my head, and I just want to share this with you lot, and if you guys
So
can
even so
help me with
so
this.
it's like obviously with 69% there was no terms of sporting control or anything like that, wasn't it? But then the more he drops, there's more of a
It's
sporting
like the
control,
more he dropped, the more caveats got added in, which
yeah,
didn't make
which
sense.
doesn't make sense at all. And I think what you're getting at is, was he actually in the picture? Is more of a sense saying smokescreen for Sergio
Yeah,
Ratcliffe,
because
maybe in the media.
it wasn't official that it came out, but it was widely reported that Sheikh Jassim and 9-2 had implied that there would be any legitimate bid. So my thinking is, was he told by his mates, the Glazers, just chuck a bid in, put a bid in, and, they'll have to up their bid then, when we win then. Do you know what I mean? We get more money and you helped us out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think let me just make this clear to everybody who's listening, because what, Twitter and YouTube and all the other social media places. Look, we're not saying we know the ins and outs of all this happening. Yeah, this is again another theories of ours, and we're discussing this. And I think
This is what happens, people, when you have insomnia.
And you know what? Fair questions to ask, because. And this is the first time we're actually discussing it, because like you said, this is something that we saw Twitter yesterday is going a bit crazy, and like you said, you've gone away and you've thought about it. But sitting here thinking about it now, I mean, if you look at it, it's one person who wants 100% of the club, Sheikh Jassim. And then obviously the part of their statement as well, when they put it out, the Glazers, in November, yes, they had sale in there, but they also had strategic review of getting investment. So control, when you look at read these statements again, I go back to facts, and these are facts. Sheikh Jassim factually said in his statement that he wants 100% of the club, and factually in the INEOS statement, which stated that he wants control of the club. So what control allows you, like you said, from 69 to 51, I don't know whether it went to 30 something, but it went to 25%. Is that just a way of then to say, look, yeah, you know what, the Glazer will stay, because I hear it a lot, people saying, you know what, Glazers never really wanted to sell anyway. It's only going to take a crazy bid for them to sell. Now,
but that's where my theories come from. Maybe
yeah,
this Jim Ratcliffe bid was there to sort of test the mettle of Sheikh Jassim and say, right, are you really all about it?
What people will say to that, because obviously a lot of people are saying PR. I think we may have mentioned PR. Some of the lads might mention PR on here as well.
We've definitely mentioned it, but this is just something that.
Yeah.
Because for me, this whole 25%, it doesn't make sense financially. Under a PLC, for me, this is a media-driven bid. It's just something that the media got caught of, and they just literally just put it out there. Now no one's got the official date because it's one Monday, another Monday, another Monday, another Monday, and then
Next week, next year.
yeah, it's just obviously I don't know, just every other day. It doesn't make sense. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of sick of it now. Just seeing his name,
Yeah.
just seeing his name, just seeing INEOS all over my TL and stuff. It's just like I get texts saying, "Yo, how come he's stalling?" I'm like, bro, Sergeant Ratcliffe isn't even in the picture. From what I know, he's not even in the picture.
I got a
and it's-
DM asking why it was taking so long. I was like, well, you're not buying a
Would
chocolate
you
bar, are you?
was you not there in part of the discussions?
Who, me?
Yeah. So how
I
don't
was
you
a
know?
fly on the wall, bro.
The fly in the wall.
Yeah,
And
I heard it
well,
all,
I
bro.
suppose I suppose the question which what a lot of people ask, which I suppose is valid as well, and let's address it if we can, is why would it be a PR bid? What does Sir Jim Ratcliffe gain from being a PR or a what's the word like you said,
A
the other
pawn.
the other bidding the pawn, the other bidding party part of this process. What does he gain by then losing at the end?
This
I
is
mean,
what I
it's
can't
not.
figure out.
No, so for me, it's not about losing out. It's so look at if the take before the takeover on Chelsea's. If you didn't know Sergeant Ratcliffe, now you know who he is. Who he is in terms of the cycling, Sky. You've got INEOS as well. How much of it's been over a year? They've been talking about INEOS, INEOS, INEOS. They've got the logo shattered everywhere, all over. Do you know what I mean? I'm starting seeing these them INEOS bottles for what's it called?
Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, basically all those,
Yeah.
bro. I've even got one at home, and I'm just like my sister. Why the hell have you got that at home? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
So they
Um,
basically raised brand awareness, and probably good
I think
marketing
that's
in
what it is.
in a
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. And I think obviously it raises Ineos his picture more higher, and he also brings him into the sports side because they've also obviously put investment down into Tottenham. And I think obviously
Is it investment or is it a sponsorship?
I think it's a sponsorship, whatever. Do you know what I
Sponsor,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's still obviously advertising. It's still marketing. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that's the main thing that Spurs want, not Spurs. Sergeant Ratcliffe wants to get into when it comes to Ineos. I don't believe they want to actually take control of a club. I think it's more sponsorship deals that they want to go into when it comes to football itself. I think that's what
Yeah,
it is basically for Sergeant Ratcliffe.
to me, I've always thought, well, if he is successful, it would be just having the name of Manchester United in their portfolio. I don't ever had a real desire to go and buy the club outright. I mean, like,
Because what it is though, like the question to you I want to ask you is, if you were Sergeant Ratcliffe now at this old age, I'm not saying you're old, but at this old age, are you gonna put Ineos, the one company you've been working for all your life, yeah, second, and put United first?
I mean, look, if I was the Jim Ratcliffe and I've got the money that he's got and his personal wealth as well, where people talk skywards of 20 billion, that's just his personal wealth. Forget Ineos. I personally would go for the club. I would, again, slap down the kind of money that they're talking about. Okay, because I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, the Qataris, if they got this much money, why haven't they blown why haven't they blown them out of the water? I would ask the same question on myself. I'd say, well, if I've got 20 billion and I really want Manchester United, and like you said, I'm 71, I could live until I'm 80, 90, but really, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what's around the corner and what my advisors are going to be, especially when I think about Charlie Munger, who recently passed away in his late 90s. Still going strong, he was. But yeah, I'd say I want it, and I want it I want it all myself. I don't want none of this, 25% stuff. So if I have, if okay, they're saying Sheikh Jassim hasn't got the money, or he's stalled at whatever the figures are, and actually Sir Jim Ratcliffe is bidding higher than what Sheikh Jassim is, well, I'd paid all, or I'd paid all. You know, people talking about that he can get credit ratings. You know, he can get loans, or like go and grab a bottle of water for him. So what if he really wants a loan? Why didn't he just go and get it? You know what I mean? That would be me.
This is the thing with Jim Ratcliffe, because something came out a while ago that apparently some loans were rejected. So it just makes you think that what's actually, have they overestimated what they could do in terms of a bid for Man
Yeah,
United?
'cause
And
I think his first loan from Goldman Sachs.
Goldman
yeah,
Sachs.
Goldman Sachs, yeah. I think it was around about 3 billion or something. That's why I think apparently. And then I think after that, what I heard was obviously some loans got rejected. One from Barclays apparently. But if he wants to if he wants to put his personal wealth in it, do you think he's going to put 10 billion into the club?
पैसे कितने ले जाने नाल तो लेके नहीं जाने. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
he's got a few kids he can divvy it out to, but that's about it.
well, if they want to do that, like, do you know what I mean? Go ahead and do that, but
But then
you know,
that to
he's a
me,
Chelsea fan, isn't he, or something like that as well?
I think
Yeah,
I
with
think
season
his sons
tickets.
and his daughter are Chelsea fans.
Yeah, so you know, even if you go back to the Chelsea bid, like, do you know what I mean? He obviously knew about that coming
You know,
up.
the
And he
Chelsea
really
bid
wanted
made
it.
sense. The Chelsea bid made sense for me because his kids are Chelsea supporters. They've got season tickets, and I think
He
that
lives
was
in
more or
London
less
when
saying,
he's in the
yeah,
UK.
and that's more or less saying, I want it hand. So it's like HBJ putting the money towards United for Sheikh Jassim, his son. You know how obviously his up now, basically give inheritance to our kids and stuff. That's how it is. Whereas this
I've got to
one
call
would
up my
be.
dad and ask about this inheritance, son.
Whereas with
I've not heard about this.
with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it's more or less like, you know, put it here you go, he Chelsea Football Club. Whereas with HBJ, it's like Sheikh Jassim, put that he is United. Do you know what I mean? Then you can pass it on to
Don't
your
forget
best son
Farhad in that as
Farhad.
well.
Farhad, yeah,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
give Farhad after that as well. But one thing I learned a few days ago was one of Jassim's brothers. He works, so you know HPJ's hotels in London, the group. I forgot what it's called.
Balmoral or something.
Yeah, something like that group. So
Or
they've
is that
actually
another
got.
company?
Wasn't that where Avram
Mm,
stayed during
Yeah,
the
so I'm not too sure what it's
Carling
called. I
Cup,
forgot.
whatever it's called?
Marylebone Hotel Group, something like that it's called. I'm
Marylebone,
not too
I
sure.
think.
Yeah, something like that. But you know who's in charge of that? One of Sheikh Jassim's brothers. So even he's called Jassim, but I think it's Mohammed something Jassim Al Thani. He's in charge of the whole operation of that, and they're gonna they're looking at um they're looking at places in Scotland now because they've opened one in London as well. Now we're getting another one in London. They want to open one in Scotland as well, apparently. So that's obviously it's the thing is for me is Qatar's going to grow and grow and grow. And they just want to grow into the whole of England. Whereas you got
Just want to
INEOS,
say it was Mayborn, the hotel group.
Mayborn, yeah, Mayborn Hotel
Mayborn.
Group. Whereas you've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he distributing hand sanitizers in houses even when COVID's finished.
Look, that's their company, you
Fair
know,
enough. Yeah, fair
petrochemicals and
enough.
things like that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Still
And
need
that's
clean
fair
hands,
enough.
bro.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just going back again, like I says, if we go back to the club and what's happening, because like for me, forget Manchester at the moment in time and all that business. Do you know what I mean? Because you know, there's only so many percentage of United fans who live in Manchester. Sorry, Aki, and I know you go around there Afsal as well, for work and things, but the rest of us want to see our club. Do you know what I mean? Um, I hear so many names, you know, linked to us. So many fans saying we should bring this player, that player. I think even there's one that um, Arsenal are going to bid for, or the favouring the Brazilian striker that we were linked as well,
Marcos
um,
Leonardo, is it?
Marcus Leonardo.
Yeah.
and I think they're saying they've almost agreed a fee with him. Uh, I was asked about that. I was like, you know what? I really don't care. Bring any player. I don't care which player it is. Yeah, bring any player into this team, squad, club. They're not doing nothing.
Put Prime Zidane in that midfield, he doesn't make a difference. And that's how I feel.
What was that for Fergie caught that with Zidane? Give me Zidane on 11, is it 10 woods or something?
What?
Give me Zidane and 10 planks of wood and I'll win the Champions League,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but that was in the Fergie era. In this era, you can't do nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Actually,
you know what I mean?
that's a question. Someone actually asked me this today at work. Do you think Fergie could turn this team around?
No,
Because I don't think he
Even
could.
Fergie can't. No.
because I think I'm mindful of. I listen to people say this all the time and say, "Oh, you can't compare Fergie to Erik ten Hag and this, that, and the other." So I'm conscious of it, but I'm
But
going to
then
say
they
it
all
anyway.
do when they talk about achievements. So they do compare him. This is what gets me.
Yeah, I think, like I said, when Fergie came into this club back in '86, look how many years it took him. Now he was still the same guy who'd won, brought the monopoly up at Scotland with
Won
Aberdeen,
the European Cup as well.
European Cup. So he's obviously a fantastic manager. So why didn't he hit it? Why didn't he hit it straight away? There was a culture there that we all know. We all hear about it nowadays. A drinking culture, people not turning up on time, and things like that. And the funny thing is, you've got likes of Nemanja Matic also talking about that, players not turning up on time, and it's a culture that we need to get rid of, and it's we have to stay persistent with Erik ten Hag. No, we don't have to. Of course, we don't have to. Erik ten Hag might not be that guy, but then again, if people are talking about the structure being bad, now the structure who appointed Erik ten Hag probably is the wrong choice as well. So Erik ten Hag might be the wrong choice. But if fans are going to talk about that, yeah, surely they need to talk about this structure there and point it out even more and more. So if they're happy to say, oh, this structure is that bad that they've appointed Erik ten Hag, who's the wrong guy, so then no shit, Sherlock. Obviously, the structure's bad, so that's what needs changing. So focus on that.
Who was
Do you know what I mean?
Fergie's structure throughout the years?
Look, Fergie made it himself, obviously with Edwards as well. Martin Edwards. Don't forget, I think when that transition from his father to Martin Edwards came, it took a long. There was things ups and downs. Even when they thought Michael Knighton was going to come in as well, you know, and don't forget with Michael Knighton as well, he'd done some good stuff off the pitch. I think he was the one who talked about monetizing Manchester United.
Yeah.
Pencil cases and cups and mugs and all that, putting Man United on
Basically
all these
everything
things
you see today.
that you see today in clothes. And yeah, and that's what it is today, and that's what set us up. Obviously, I'm sure one day we might get into it with a certain somebody about that and what happened. But what I'm trying to say, it took people like that who cared, who wanted the part of the club, who still then stayed on the board, and for it to happen. Sometimes it does take luck as well. Do you know what I mean? But what you don't do is like what we're doing now, what we had done in the past, is just stick with like Ed Woodward, which it wasn't working, and he still probably would have been around if that Super League debacle didn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And
I
this
think it'd
is
still
where
be here today.
so yeah, like I says, it's soon as we can get these glazes out, and like I says, I'm just look. I'm also fed up of all the how can I call it? All the bitching happening on things like X, Twitter, and all that business. Like, do you know what I mean? Is that many people on there now? Just, do you know what I mean? Exactly, Aki. Like, it's just so petty, and you're just thinking, man.
I think this is the reason why I took Rich's advice when he said just mute your notifications. Just go on it every day for 2 hours, and that's about it. Split it up, and that's about it. So obviously I've done that, and I don't even go into it. Like we've set up the Discord, which obviously I think some of the community joining, and it's been good. One of the questions that came onto that group today was obviously, do you think Malcolm Glazer, if he was alive, would he have sold up to the Qataris, also to Sir Jim Ratcliffe? And I think, I mean, I didn't answer the question, but someone else answered it, and they go that he would have easily sold up to Saudi a couple of years ago, which in some sense I think obviously would have been true. But then obviously he would have done something around the surroundings of Old Trafford as well. I do believe he would have done something positive, I think, and he would have just sold up for a massive profit. But I think obviously when it comes to the ownership, we just need new owners. And obviously it's going to be Qatar. To be honest with you, even if this Sir Jim Ratcliffe was true, I wouldn't even be happy because regardless, one thing MK Michael Knight told me was on Friday was that yes, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's British and stuff like that, and he supported him. He supported his bid, but Glazers out means 100% out. And he goes, I stand by that. He goes, yes, I was on one side first, but I'm jumping over the other side. And I need to stick to what I first said, which is 100% Glazers out. So the only person that's giving that bid is Sheikh Jassim. So I think obviously that's the main thing for it. People need to realize it's not about sitting on the fence or doing basically.
I don't know how these people walk.
No, I know
On the
this.
fence
This
that
something
much.
that it's not about sitting on the fence because
Just that it must be hurting by now.
It's either 100% or not 100%. Do you know what I mean? And if you're gonna support the Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid, then you are not Glazers out. You are a Glazer in some sense. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you want the Glazers out, you are, for me, a true United fan, and that's facts. That's facts at all. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people, I think obviously Fergie would actually agree with me in terms of saying if you're going to be Glazers out, you're Glazers out because no one is bigger than the club itself. Do you know what I mean? Not the Glazers, the club. For me, the welfare of the club, I cared about. The players I cared about, the manager I cared about. And it's the Glazers out 100% out. That's it. I mean, I don't have nothing else to say. It's like I go on rant about it and stuff like that, but I'm just sick of all these people because it's like you said, Harps. It's just pettiness, it's bitching and stuff like that. There's no point. There's no point. Either you are Glazers out or you're not. Just choose a side, stick to it, and ride it out.
And when the wind
Do you know what
blows
I
in
mean?
a different direction, don't flip flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also have to just mention as well. I think people talking about them. You know, we've just spoken about the Mondays. Okay, and, you know, it's eight Mondays, and I hear people saying, "Oh well, this Qatari deal was done back in June. Where is it?" The question I want to know is, who said it was done back in June? I think we were one of them that said it's done, kind of thing. But you know, are we are we these people that everybody goes on to say?
Our exact words were, "It's Qatar, it's done."
Yeah.
We didn't say papers were signed. We didn't say any of that. Just to be very
Yeah, that's
clear on that fact.
Yeah,
And
go on, sorry.
I think the thing is, even Reuters came out. Riz mentioned in May. Reuters came out in June saying that
Exclusivity, they're trying to
Qatar
negotiate
want exclusivity. Yeah, and then if you remember, and everyone has to remember this as well. The moment that happened, the Qatar went very quiet. They went absolute radio silence, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe went even louder. And I think that's what people don't
It's
understand.
almost like they had a bigger, better NDA.
Yeah. It's basically another thing what MK said to me. He goes, the way the Middle East operates, from what his opinion is, he goes, if you're going to compare Saudi and Qatar, who are the most active when it comes to sports, Saudi want to show how big their balls are, whereas Qataris know how big their balls are when it comes to investment, basically. And I think obviously I mentioned this to a few people in Saudi over the weekend, and they said, "Look, that's how it is. The MBS wants to be known for having the biggest balls when it comes to investment." He put down a 20 billion bid for F1, which got rejected, and he goes, "I'm going to come back for it." 20 billion for F1. Yeah. He put in a bid, I think last
Wow.
year for F1 and he got rejected to limited media. And he goes, I'm going to come back for it. And I do believe he will come back for it because they're not going to stop. Whereas
Yeah,
the
'cause
They're
crowd-
hosting the Joshua fight in a couple of days.
yeah.
Because I haven't seen the exact articles and what the ins and outs of it were, but there's also articles coming out whereby, well, obviously we also know Saudi are after the WWE, and they then took another route which kept you'll probably know this more than Miyaki
Yeah.
and Afsal. You know, they took the he took a deal whereby he still stayed involved, but
Yeah,
apparently
they signed
that
a
deal's
longer pay-per-view sort of deal.
yeah, but that I think the shares have now really dropped on that, and the value of that organization isn't
Yeah.
quite
But
working out as.
I think WWE actually get just for one event. Because I think how many events happen in a year? I think it's 2 or 3 in Saudi. For
In
one
Saudi,
event, I think
2.
it's I think it's like 100 million for one event. It's crazy.
No, but what I'm going to say, I don't know whether you've seen the reports, but there was all sorts of people were sharing.
Oh no,
whereby,
he's talking about TKO. The TKO shares have plummeted.
Yeah.
So the
Sorry, the actual organisation that bought
UFC merger.
Yeah. Because people were talking, you know, comparing it to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers are trying to do. Now, be wary. It might look good, but in reality, this is how it turns out.
There was a lot of
TKO.
press about that saying, I don't know if it was saying Rain were under the microscope for that sale or Vince McMahon himself was under the microscope because of the way it was conducted. Obviously, he resigned. Well, he was made to resign on the back of some allegations. He then basically, because he had controlling interest, he vetoed every decision the board made, and he basically sent them a letter and said, right, I'm going to keep vetoing all your decisions until you let me back in. Like, we're not selling the company, I'm coming back, or it's no ball. Came back in and went, right, we're selling the company.
Yeah, I think Brian is the one who shared that article. I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian on Twitter there. Big shout out to Brian. Yeah, I think he shared it. I didn't read it all properly, but yeah, look, we have to stay careful. But like I said, we've always been 100% Glazers out. So irrespective of, as I said, whoever it is, we want 100% of the Glazers out there. Before we just wrap up, Liverpool game. I think we've already spoken about it. I think Akimi, you can't see a positive result there. Afsal flying that flag. Thank you very much.
I'm sticking to my 1-0, bro.
No, fair play, man. Fair play. But my question is, you know, before we end up on it, if we do lose, and you know, whether it's a bad result, you know, whether it's like a 7-0 drubbing or whether it's a 1-0 loss or whatever, even you know what, even if it's an Afsal and we win by 2-3-0, does anything change?
Nope.
Will you be, you know, how will you as a fan feel? You know,
Don't
in
get me
terms
wrong.
of
We've beat Liverpool in the biggest game in English football. I will be happy that we've done it. But again, like I said when we beat Chelsea, I've got my eyes on bigger prize. So the victory is almost redundant at this point.
yeah, so I think for me, and it's just sad in a way because I think it takes the heat off the Glazers themselves. I just implore, you know, the fans. We know what the result's going to be. Okay, we're all, I think, from what I see, we're all expecting a loss. Okay, and I think you'd be crazy to think otherwise. Afsal, sorry, you know, and that's me. And you know what I'm like. I'm always positive as well. But even though I can't see a Liverpool win, but we know that whether we win, we're not going to go win the league, and whether we lose, you know, bringing in a new manager, new players aren't going to change anything either. Like, do you know what I mean? So, whatever you do, just back the name Manchester United, the club, and just focus all your energy on getting the Glazers out, man. So, thank you.
Haraami, the guy that turns up on your body.